Ever since I've immersed myself into our community, I've always known that there was something beautiful about it. And I've been searching for the words to explain this. And it wasn't until our podcast that I'm part of with these two lovely ladies that made me realise I'm missing the point. The answer is already there. You have the stories of worthiness. You have those words of inspiration. And it is you who have the words to give hope to others. So come with me around the world as we gather these stories and celebrate us.
This is to all of you beautiful souls out there who wanted to become parents, but couldn't for whatever reason on earth. I'm sure at some point all of us have asked, what is my life is even all about if I don't have kids? For me, I found the answer. Recently, I've heard a phrase saying, life is a long process of dealing with everything. Just as simple as that. So I decided to take my life and leave it as it is and make the best of it. So let's be strong, be happy, and let's live our lives the way they're gifted to us. Thank you to the World Childless Week, Steph and friends, for having created this lovely caring space where it feels like home.
My name's Michael. I live in Melbourne, Australia. Outside my day job, I coordinate a social support and advocacy group for LGBTIQ+ people. My main motivation is to reduce the rates of self-harm and negative mental health outcomes that LGBTIQ+ people face. Additionally, I provide resources for families and individuals who are facing challenges with gender identity and related issues. Just recently, I took a call from a concerned but supportive father whose 12-year-old started telling him they think they're a different gender. The father was wonderful to talk to and very mature. After some conversation, he asked me if I see what I do as saving lives, and I said, yes, I do see it like that. That's what drives me. Been doing this since the late 1990s. On top of that, together with my husband Gregory, we are activists for human rights, for LGBTIQ+ people, women, refugees and asylum seekers, and Indigenous people. We've done a lot over the years to help change attitudes, make society better for vulnerable groups and those less privileged than us.
Hi, I'm Gail Miller, and I'm here because I want to give others hope. When I was in the depths of my sadness, when I realized motherhood wasn't going to happen for me, I felt such a sense of loss, shame, and feeling less than. And I also thought I would never experience happiness again. But I'm happy to say that that was very wrong. It took work, it took time, but I overcame that. I learned that I can honor my loss and experience happiness again. So I want you to know, 1, there is no shame in childlessness, no matter what the situation is that brought you to being childless, not by choice. You are not less than. You are worthy. There is hope. You can experience happiness alongside childlessness.
Bonjour, je suis Catherine-Emmanuelle Delisle, thérapeute en relation d'aide dans la région de Montréal au Canada. Je suis fière d'avoir créé mon site femmesansenfants.com il y a déjà 10 ans. Pourquoi je suis fière? Parce que ça m'a permis d'avancer dans mon deuil de la maternité et d'aller à la rencontre de femmes qui vivent un peu la même chose que moi. Un des cadeaux aussi que la création de ce site m'a apporté, ce sont des nouvelles amies qui partagent le même style de vie que moi. Alors soyons fiers de nous, soyons fiers de nos vies et de ce qu'on accomplit en dehors de la norme. Bonne World Childless Week à tout le monde!
Hi everyone, my name is Joni and I'm in Washington, D.C. in the United States. And I just wanted to share some things that have helped me on my journey. The number one thing is Jodi's book, The Most Life-Changing. Also, all of the meetup groups to connect with women in my community have been really helpful. World Childless Week, and Empowered Childlessness, and the Childless Collective Summit have all helped me meet and see people from around the world in a similar circumstance. I feel like I've learned, because of all that, I've learned so much about the power of grief, learning about pronatalism, and connecting with others have been the most life-changing for me.
Hi everybody, I'm Jay Parmar. I'm a professional musician, producer and guitar builder. Wanted to come on today and talk to you about inspiration. Inspiration is the absolute cornerstone of everything that I do in my work, in my personal life, in my interactions with other people. I think it's so important for what I do and the legacy that I leave behind. Look, we all want to leave our footprints in the sand, and as a childless person, the way that I've chosen to do this is to inspire others. Because you know what, when we inspire others, it's spider webs. They inspire other people, and those people inspire other people, and that spider web just keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what I do in everything that I do, whether it's writing music, whether it's talking to somebody, interacting with somebody from the Childless Not By Choice community, or just my friends. That's what I want to leave behind. They're the echoes that are going to be left behind.
Hi, I'm Berenice and I'm 1/3 of the Full Stop podcast. I'm a designer and I live in Cambridge in the UK, and I run a company called Hello Lovely, and I design websites and books and branding. I'm also owned by a rescue dog, Lady Molly Lickalot, and I'm an artist. I've just started reclaiming that actually. It's something that I haven't done for a while. I put it all away despite my background in art, and so I'm starting to reclaim that identity too. It's a bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. I've also been through numerous rounds of failed IVF and miscarriages, and that led me to the place that we share called involuntary childlessness. It's a tricky place to be, isn't it? But I think we're worthy of celebrating because I've met so many amazing people, which kind of leads nicely to Michael's request to thank people. If I'm honest, I don't know who to thank. Michael himself and Sarah for being fantastic co-hosts of the podcast. I couldn't do it without them. We just simply work together and utterly believe in collaboration, and that's so important. Friends along the way who I've met, who both share this space, but some of whom are parents themselves and have taken the time to listen. That's incredibly important. Have that respect for each other, both within childlessness and what we do, and the kindness and the care for each other, and to collaborate well and equally and inclusively to everybody, but also to those around us who may not yet understand what it's like, future generations, to lots of people that need us, need to hear our voices, to celebrate us, to see that we're worthy of celebrating too. So lots of people to thank, those that are visible, that we see, that talk and that are in the press and in the media, and those that are not. If you've just watched or engaged with World Childless Week for the first time, maybe you've just decided to listen to the podcast. Well, that's okay too. You're all worthy of being celebrated. We all are. We're all amazing people with so much to us and so much diversity. Every person and every guest I've ever met on the way on the Full Stop podcast has been interesting, There's always a story to tell, and sometimes it's the most unexpected ones, and often it's not about the childlessness, it's about something else that we've got in common. And I absolutely believe that sometimes you need a little bit more than the grief we share in common to make a really, really, really good friendship. My advice is just to surround yourself with things that are both useful and beautiful. And you can apply that to anything, to people, to places you go, to your life. You're worthy of that. You're worthy of things that help you and support you, people who help you and support you. And those who don't, well, maybe it's time to move on. Find something better, find someone better. There's a whole community out there waiting to hear from you, and I hope you'll be with us. Thank you for being here. Celebrate you.
Hi there, my name is Civilla Morgan. I am the founder and host of the Childless Not by Choice podcast. Thank you so much, Michael Hughes, for doing this. I think this is just a fabulous idea. I think it's a reminder to all of us that we do exist, because society wants us to think that we don't and that we can just continue to hide in plain sight because they don't want to be uncomfortable. But I'm here to tell you, we're not hiding in plain sight. We are all over the planet. We represent a whole 20 or 25% of the human population who didn't get to have the children or children that we wanted. And what are we going to do with that? We're going to turn it into a community, a global community. We're already doing it. We're not going to, we are doing it. This video proves from all of these people from all over the planet that we are a community, and there is nothing stronger than community. So I just want to remind us that we are worthy. We are here for a reason. And if you don't know what that reason that's fine. I'm sure you'll figure it out, but just know that if you are alive and here and even listening to this video montage, you are here for a reason. And I know you'll figure out what that is, and then you'll get to work on it. Thank you so much, Michael, for doing this. Thank you, Stephanie Joy Phillips, for World Childless Week. And thanks to all of you who have platforms that are helping all of us. You are awesome. We are awesome. Have a great one. Bye.
Hello, my name is Karin Enfield. I'm childless, not by choice. Navigating my way through childless life has been a roller coaster with many ups and downs. And as I enter the next decade of my childless being, I'm starting to actually be really appreciative of myself and of the compassion and kindness that I have learned to show myself as I navigated my way through grief. I want to thank you, Michael, for organizing this. I want to thank Steph for organizing World Childless Week, an event that is incredibly important to make sure that on a global scale we keep raising awareness for childlessness. I also want to thank everybody who works in the childless community, who puts themselves out there, whether you're a therapist, whether you run an online global community, whether you write books, whether you organize events. It's all important work. And also a thank you to you who is watching this. You might be new to the community, or you might not know anything about us yet. Come and celebrate us together, because we do deserve to be celebrated. We deserve to be seen and heard. And that's also why I'm very proud of the fact that I'm now a grief and loss counsellor who is helping and supporting people through childless grief. So yeah, it's been an incredible decade, but I'm very, very proud. Please come and join us in the celebrations. Bye.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm in the UK and I'm childless, not by choice, due to unexplained infertility and several rounds of unsuccessful IVF. I am most proud of the fact that I have survived. There were definitely times when I thought that I wouldn't, and there've been some really dark times. Finding out you can't have children is really difficult, but I've gone on to move to the seaside, build a new life for myself. I've become involved in the Childless Not By Choice community. I've found a lot of support there, and I've made some really good friends, and I have to say we're a bunch of amazing women, and although it doesn't feel like it now, you will get there. It takes time, but you will.
Hi fabulous community, I'm Steph Penny and I live in Sydney, Australia. Probably the main thing that's helped me in childlessness is the idea of leaving a legacy. I'm trying to leave a legacy myself in 3 main ways. I adopt fur babies and care for them. I also play music, I compose, I sing and play for others and for myself as well. And the last way, probably the main way that I'm trying to leave a legacy these days is through writing. I share my story online and with people. I have written my story. I've heard many of your stories as well, all of which inspire me and give me that sense of solidarity. I hope if you ever one day get to share your story as well, you'll experience, like I did, that sense of, hey, we're not alone and we don't have to do this alone. Stay fabulous, guys.
Ciao, mi chiamo Giulia. Sono di origine ucraina, ma da molti anni vivo in Italia. L'Italia è un paese meraviglioso, che ruota attorno ai valori tradizionali, casa, famiglia, figli, ed è bello e penso che sia giusto così. Ma il lato opposto della medaglia è un totale silenzio attorno a chi per qualche ragione non è riuscito ad avere tutto questo. Cosa dobbiamo fare? Come possiamo sopravvivere? Prima di tutto vorrei che uscissimo allo scoperto. Chi se la sente, diciamo la nostra. Siamo qui. Anche noi abbiamo una vita, delle esigenze, dei sentimenti. Notateci, portateci rispetto. Io ho fondato un progetto dedicato alle persone senza figli, soprattutto non per scelta, sul posto di lavoro. E vorrei aiutare le aziende a bilanciare le loro politiche, includendoci il supporto e la protezione dei collaboratori senza figli. Dai, passo dopo passo, ce la faremo.
Hello, I'm Bindi. I've been through the dark moments of grief, of sadness, of full anger about this journey of life, about where we are. Those times where the ton of bricks fall on you and you are dazed and shell-shocked and not knowing what has come about. I see you. I've been there. And you know what? Slowly you will emerge. You'll emerge from those dark, dark moments into another life. You'll start seeing yourself. You'll start seeing your sparkle. You'll start recognizing your strength. You'll start to thrive a little and a little bit more and a little bit more. You'll survive. You'll see that you are indeed worthy to lead a happy, fulfilled life. You really will. And look, we have this wonderful community to welcome you in and to witness your growth and to celebrate your joys with you. It's going to be wonderful.
I worked for a large retail company for over 20 years that showed no support or empathy at the most painful time of my life. When we finally decided to stop trying for a family, I needed something for myself. I'd been cake decorating for some time and decided to be the best cake maker, I needed to learn how to bake. So I became a pastry chef at 42. I was scared, but I pushed myself. I ended up working for a large bakery for 10 years. But sadly COVID saw me redundant at age 54. I heard about a job driving children with special needs to and from school. I didn't know what to expect and I didn't know if I was going to be able to cope. We have a school near us and I've had to pass it every day for 20 years going to work. I always felt a mixture of emotions anxious, sad, jealous. But I decided to try it. I told my potential employer that I didn't have children and this may not be for me, but I'd give it a go. They were really supportive and allowed me to try it out. Now I have my own little bunch of children to look after, each with special needs. I realised how hard it must be for parents. Many people have asked how this makes me feel. I feel proud that I've challenged myself to do this, and it's my pleasure to get my precious little cargo to school, safe, happy and not late. I really love listening to the conversations they have on the way to school, and I really love my job.
Hello lovelies, my name's Sandra McNicol from Caledonian Coaching. I'm permanently childless, not by choice, a grief therapist and a life coach. And I know how hard this is. Take your time, but also know there is light at the end of the tunnel. You will get there. I'd like to read something from Jerry Sitzer, which I found inspiring, and I hope you do too. The sorrow I felt has not disappeared, but it has been integrated into my life as a painful part of a healthy whole. Initially, my loss was so overwhelming to me that it was the dominant emotion, sometimes the only emotion I had. I felt like I was staring at the stump of a huge tree that had just been cut down in my backyard. That stump, which sat all along, kept reminding me of the beloved tree that I'd lost. I could think of nothing but that tree. Every time I looked out the window, all I could see was that stump. Eventually, however, I decided to do something about it. I landscaped my backyard, reclaiming it once again as my own. I decided to keep the stump there since it was both too big and too precious to remove. Instead of getting rid of it, I worked around it. I planted shrubs, trees, flowers and grass. I laid out a brick pathway and built 2 benches. Then I watched everything grow. Now, 3 years later, the stump remains, still reminding me of the beloved tree I lost. However, the stump is surrounded by a beautiful garden of blooming flowers and growing trees and lush grass. Likewise, the sorrow I feel remains, but I have tried to create a landscape around the loss so that what was once ugly is now an integral part of a large, lovely whole.
Hi, my name is Cecilia. I'm childless not by choice. I'm Danish, and in a few seconds I will speak in Danish instead, just to show the diversity of our community. I know you all speak English. But before that, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to Jody Day and Karin Enfield and many others in this fantastic community. So thank you again to you. Som sagt, så vil jeg sige lidt på dansk. Jeg vil sige lidt på dansk omkring, at noget af det, som jeg har oplevet her, er at møde folk fra hele verden, også fra Danmark, med mange forskellige historier, mange forskellige baggrunde. Og så alligevel så deler vi erfaringer og oplevelser, hvor det er enormt betydningsfuldt at møde andre, som har oplevet det samme, og hvor vi bliver genkendt, og vi føler os genkendt, og vi kan genkende hinanden. Noget af det, som jeg har oplevet ellers ud over den her følelse af genkendelse og virkelig blive set, det er, at jeg har fået min kreative over frem meget mere, end jeg ellers havde gjort. Og det er jeg helt sikker på. Jeg har begyndt at skrive, og jeg skriver både om det at være ufrivilligt barnløs, og har skrevet lidt og fået publiceret lidt i Politikken, men har også gjort det i andre sammenhænge, hvor jeg ved, at jeg rører andre med de historier, jeg har. Og det, jeg tænker, der er virkelig vigtigt, det er, at vi tør dele vores historier. So let's share our stories and be even more numerous and diverse. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, g'day all. So the childless not by choice journey, it's hard. And, you know, we have days where we struggle. But I've got to say that there are so many good parts to it. For me, I think the highlight if you can call it a highlight, was the strength it brought into my relationship with my wife. The journey will often give you one of two things. It will damage your relationship or make it stronger. And for us, it was the latter. And we've gone through the ringer many times, but it made us feel safe and comfortable to love each other more, and also to know that we can get through the hard yards. And that's just become stronger and stronger, pushing 30 years of being together. So have faith. It will get better. It does get better. And life without kids is still a good life. And yeah, enjoy. Make the most of it. Thanks for listening. Love you all.
I used to hear people say you can find meaning and fulfillment without children, and I didn't believe them. Through the amazing support of communities such as Lighthouse Women and More to Life, I've met some amazing people who have really helped me and understood, and it's helped me to remember the person I was and enjoy life again. Reminding ourselves that we are worthy, we have value, and there are many different paths in life that are meaningful. Remembering the people that we were before all of this can help with the things that interest us, and we can build on that. We need to give ourselves permission to stand with everyone in life and be proud of our achievements equally. Whatever they are, they're important to us. And each time we speak out, at work, with friends, or in organisations, we help to reduce the shame and stigma that keeps us hidden. So go forth and sing loudly, my friend.
Hi, I'm Judy, and I'm thinking about this question, what am I proud of? And what's landing for me is simple. I'm proud of being me, just the way I am, on the good days and on the not so good days. I think there can be a real temptation to think, I have to do something really big, really important, make something of myself that people will see and value. Sort of compensate for not having children, for not being a parent. I give myself permission just to be me and to be present and to make the most of every day. I don't feel that I have to compare myself to others. And in that, I feel proud of myself. Proud just to be me. So, on World Childless Week 2022, I know I'm worthy. And I know that you are too.
I'm Yvonne John. I'm author of Dreaming of a Life Unlived. I'm a public speaker and activist for the childless women of colour's experience around infertility. I'm also a trained facilitator for the Lighthouse Women's Reignite Weekends. I was diagnosed with unexplained infertility in 2014, and ever since then I have been on this incredibly hard and joyous journey to understanding and embracing my grief. With the help and support of the childless community, as well as the wonderful women along the way, I have been able to find the courage, inspiration and grace to stand up and shout, yeah, we matter too. I want to thank Michael and Steph for creating this opportunity for our voices and our stories to be heard during World Childless Week and beyond. I also want to thank you all too, the childless community, the wonderful women that I have come to love and know. I want to thank you for being you. And I want to encourage you to stand up and share your stories. It doesn't have to be a huge, momentous shout out to the world that you are childless. It just has to be a conversation with your family and friends. And if you can, within the social circles that you're into. Because our stories are important and they need to be heard. Without our stories, how do we affect change? How do we dismantle the shame and taboos that are there around us being childless? Michelle Obama said, If it's one thing in life, it's the power of using the voice. A story is what we have and will always have. It's something for us to own. I've come to learn that it's important for childless women, especially childless women of colour, to be open and own our vulnerability with pride.
Salut tout le monde! Je fais un petit vidéo pour la World Childless Week. Je m'appelle Marie-Hélène. J'ai essayé d'avoir un enfant avec mon conjoint pendant 10 ans, sans succès. J'ai fait plusieurs traitements de fertilité, puis aujourd'hui, je suis une femme sans enfant de 47 ans, par infertilité. Dans les dernières années, j'ai décidé de partager mon vécu avec d'autres. J'ai participé à des études universitaires. J'ai publié des textes. J'ai fait un podcast. J'ai participé à une émission de télévision sur les personnes sans enfants. Pourquoi? Parce que je veux qu'on en parle. Parce que je veux qu'on nous voie. Puis je veux éveiller les gens à notre réalité de personnes sans enfants, puis à notre valeur aussi. Qu'est-ce qui me donne du courage? Vous autres, tous ceux qui nous supportent, de la communauté des personnes sans enfants ou pas. Je me sens entourée, puis ça me donne du courage pour avancer. Je trouve qu'on enrichit la société par notre diversité. Allez, on lâche pas.
Hi, my name is Brigitte. Being childless not by choice, there are many losses. I may not look like I have much in life in a worldly sense, and I have little of what others have. But I have so much in myself. I have grown and deepened in incredible ways and in unseen ways. And this I value, even if the majority doesn't, and in ways few people understand. So I'm really grateful to be part of this community. I'm really grateful for the parts of myself for always having got me through, carried me through all the losses and the challenges that I faced and that I will continue to face. And I'm really grateful to all childless women and men for us being together. I'm really proud, and it's very special to be amongst you.
Hi, I'm Robyn Jamieson-Voss, and I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I am childless not by choice due to unexplained infertility, and I've never once been able to be pregnant. It's been really hard accepting my life as childless not by choice, but it has been made easier by a few big things that have been so important to my acceptance, growth, and healing. First is obviously World Childless Week, and being able to know that there's a community out there that is like me and has experienced many of the same things I've gone through, and finding my community has been so helpful. The other part that comes out of World Childless Week is being able to share my story. Shame can't exist when you put words around your story, and so sharing my story has been really very helpful in being able to heal. But the biggest part has been all of the friendships that I've made with so many amazing people, some whom I've never been able to meet in person, but I talk to online all the time, and a couple that I have been able to meet in person. Sarah and Heather, love you both. I'm looking forward to the next time that I can see you. We don't live near each other, but I get to see them whenever I go back to my husband's hometown. They live nearby. So being childless not by choice is difficult because the mourning doesn't ever really stop, but finding connections with people and being able to share your story has been really so very, very helpful. And I hope that you will be able to find some peace in World Childless Week and in making connections as well. Bye.
Hi, I'm Narelle Hudson, and I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and I am childless not by choice. I went through my infertility journey more than 12 years ago now, and it involved many rounds of IVF and being pregnant and then losing a child, and in those really, really dark grief times, I know it feels like there's no way out and things are never going to get better. But over time, our life does grow around our grief, and we do find joy again in small things. Our grief is always there, it doesn't go away, and it can be triggered at any time, but life does grow around our pain. And for me, that joy has come from sharing my story with others as a writer and publishing my book to share my infertility journey with others so they don't feel so alone. And it's also come through being able to support others with their grief journey as a grief counsellor. And I find joy in being able to support others on their journey, as when I went through my journey, I didn't have access to communities like this one, and I didn't have a counsellor or much support around me. So I know how valuable that is, and that's what brings me joy, helping others to know that there is some joy that can be found, some growth, even in grief.
Hi, I'm Kirstie and I live in northwest England, and I discovered back in 2016 that I was going to be childless not by choice. By the summer of 2017, I felt so alone and isolated that I had to do something about it, so I hit the internet. Thankfully, I found Leslie Pine and a great resource sheet which basically set me on my way to finding out who I could be as a childless woman. One of the first things from that resource sheet was Jodi Day's book. So I did that, it was really helpful, and it introduced me to the whole global organisation of Gateway Women, and finally I felt part of an actual community. Gateway Women went on and introduced me to World Childless Week, and I made my first contribution back in 2018. So thank you, Steph, and all the team there for all that you do. Because through that, and through Berenice's Walk in Our Shoes, it really helped me to see that just because I couldn't create human life, it didn't mean that I couldn't be creative. And creativity came back into my life. So in 2019, I came here to our local theatre for a Women's Day, part of Story House Women. It was great, it was a lovely event. But by the end of it, I felt like I feel now, alone. Because on the day I was there, and from what I could see the whole programme, there hadn't been any representation that year of childless not by choice people. So I plucked up my courage and came back and spoke to Nicola, communities manager, to see if there was any way that we could work together to do something for the childless community, even if I could come along and hold my Gateway Women gathering meetings here. She was great, and I really felt that I'd been seen and I'd been heard. And so in November 2019, we had our first Story House Childless event, a whole day for the childless community. There were performances, people sharing their stories, fantastic speakers like Jodi Day. Since then, we've obviously had the pandemic where everybody's felt probably a lot more alone and isolated. But coming out of it, Story House haven't forgotten us. We're still included, we're still being seen, and we're still being heard. And it really helps to make me feel that we are worthy. So that's what I'd say to you, is when or if you feel ready, don't be frightened to go out and speak to people about childlessness. If there's something that you want to see happening, go and ask, because you never know. You might find somewhere like Story House, you might find somewhere like I did, and I really hope you do, and they'll surprise you.
Hi, I'm Janine, and what I'm most proud of is following a series of miscarriages and realising that I would never be a mother, I decided to start afresh and uproot my very comfortable life in Sydney and my very secure job of 10 years to move to the other side of the world, that is Denmark, the country where my partner is from. This meant that I had to learn a foreign language, I had to negotiate a foreign culture that is very, very different to mine. And also I had to start a new career because my qualifications in law are not recognised in Denmark. But it also meant that we have been able to travel extensively to some very off the beaten track places, mostly by way of motorbike, and I'm pretty proud of this.
Привет! Меня зовут Юля, мне 45. В этом видео я хотела бы сказать несколько слов тем, кто родился и жил во времена Советского Союза или в постсоветских странах. Я знаю, что в наших странах тема бездетности никогда и нигде не поднимается. Рожать детей, особенно первого, принято до 30 лет, а тех, кто вышел из этого возраста, могут назвать ужасным словом «старородящая». Что уж говорить о тех, кто не родил вовсе. Вот о нас и не говорят. О нас забыли, как о ненужных элементах общества. Но я рада, что мы находим поддержку и ресурсы на другом языке, в других странах, что мы объединяемся в сообщества, где можем делиться нашими историями, где нас поймут. Но я очень хочу, чтобы мы могли донести эту поддержку для тех, кто не говорит на другом языке, либо просто хочет делиться личным на родном языке. Я очень надеюсь, что мы найдем друг друга. До встречи.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone in this community who works tirelessly in the background to make our community so kind, caring, supportive, and also encouraging safe space that it is for all of us. When I reached out 2 years ago, and obviously, you know, that takes a lot of courage, but when I reached out, I got such a warm welcome, and I was really impressed by all the information that was there and the resources. I've learnt so much over the last 2 years, and I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everybody that's made that possible. My confidence has grown, and I feel that my life has been so enhanced. So that's all I wanted to say, and I also wanted to say that if you do reach out, you will get a massive warm welcome like I did, and I mean, who knows, maybe one day our paths will cross, but until that time, please take good care of yourself.
I want to give a shout out to Helen Louise Jones, who runs Our Healing Voice, which is a chanting and breathing circle, which is kind of a combination of breath work, singing and chanting, and it's completely aimed at childless not by choice people, and I've been going to that for over a year, and I find it has been just instrumental in my healing journey, and the work Helen does for the childless community is fantastic, and I just want to say thank you so much, Helen.
Hi, my name's Sheya, and I live in Melbourne, Australia. I'm coming to you from the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I was really pleased when I heard that Michael was putting this video together for World Childless Week, because what better way to say thanks to some amazing people in the childless community. I'm relatively new to the childless community, and discovering this world of childless people and their stories and their support has really helped me so far. I've learnt a lot, and I continue to learn more every day. I thought I'd take this opportunity to thank some really great people here in Australia who advocate and raise the profile for childless people, as well as providing support to me. These people are courageous, vulnerable, honest, knowledgeable, supportive, caring, lovely people. So I'd like to give a special thanks to Judy Graham and Jodie O'Brien, And also a thank you to Michael Hughes, Sarah Roberts, Penny Robarts, Liz Campbell, Jo Vracker for everything that you do for the childless community. For me, hopefully this time next year, I'm in a position where I could tell my story at World Childless Week. If you are new here, I'd highly encourage you to tap into the resources of the childless community. Connect on social media, find your childless network of people, listen to the podcast, watch the webinars, and hopefully you're making the most of World Childless Week. So thanks, Michael, for putting this video together, and thanks, Stephanie, for the amazing work that you do for World Childless Week. And I look forward to another great World Childless Week. Thanks very much.
Hallo, mijn naam is Karin Enfield-De Vries. Ik ben ongewenst kinderloos. Kinderloos zijn betekent voor mij dat ik nooit moeder zal worden. Dat ik een verlies en een verdriet met me meedraag, wat altijd een plekje zal hebben in mijn leven en in mijn hart. Door te erkennen dat ik een rouwproces heb door moeten gaan om te komen tot waar ik nu ben, heeft het mij enorm geholpen om vooruit te komen met dit verlies. En begrip te kunnen creëren voor mezelf, maar ook bij anderen, over mijn situatie, over het verdriet en over het verlies wat ongewenste kinderloosheid met zich mee heeft gebracht. Door met andere mensen te connecten in een wereldwijde community voor mensen die ongewenst kinderloos zijn, heb ik geleerd ook om me meer open te stellen over dit onderwerp en meer te leren over wat rouw met je doet. En inmiddels ben ik heel trots dat ik als rouw- en verliestherapeut mij ook inzet om anderen te helpen met het rouwproces wat bij ongewenste kinderloosheid komt kijken. Wil je meer weten? Neem dan zeker ook een kijkje op mijn website. En ik wil je uitnodigen om ons te komen vieren met elkaar deze week. Dankjewel, Steph, voor World Childless Week.
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm founder of Happy and Childless. I'm 45 and childless not my choice. I started Happy and Childless 3 years ago with the sole intention of providing hope and inspiration to other childless men and women. I was heartbroken 3 years ago and I couldn't see a way forward. I was lacking in any hope for the future and I was completely devoid of any purpose. Move on 3 years and I'm literally living my best life. I gave up my corporate job last year in October to fully commit to Happy and Childless, and I'm traveling around the world in between coaching, podcasts and events. How did it happen? It took inspired action. I connected with myself and my values again. And by reconnecting in mind, body and spirit with my universe and the special people in my world, my happiness miraculously transformed. Connection changed my life. And I'm proud to be launching the Happy and Childless app, born out of a desire to show the true power of connection. Through connecting with other like-minded men and women, I rediscovered my zest for life and a sense of belonging. I felt seen, heard and understood for the first time in such a long time. And I want this for you also. I mean, we are all different. Childlessness does not define us. We are unique, with individual likes, passions, desires. And it's key that we connect with people with the same energy and interests as ourselves. I am living proof that you can rewrite your story and learn to live and love life again. It takes action, self-love, compassion, revisiting our values, connecting with the community, and so much more. It's a journey which once seemed completely impossible, but now it's an exciting adventure. And I know that this can happen for you also. I'm here for you. Get in touch at Happy and Childless should you need any support. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah Jane, and I'm childless not by choice. I live on the traditional unceded territory of the Hulkaminam and the Senchothan speaking peoples, also known as Salt Spring Island, British Columbia, Canada. I've been thinking a lot about this question, what am I proud of? And first of all, I'm extremely proud to be part of a dynamic community of men and women who are courageous enough to stand up and share their stories so that they can be way showers for myself and others. I'm also proud of myself for developing the self-compassion that I've needed to integrate my childless grief and to heal the relationship with myself and with my body in the wake of childlessness. There was a time, a long time, where I never thought that I would or could get to this place that I'm at now, where I feel proud of who I am. I spent a long time feeling very ashamed and alone in my suffering. And I'm finding others and hearing others' stories and seeing how they were unique yet similar allowed me to come out of that place of isolation and start to feel a sense of belonging. And it's events like World Childless Week and projects like this video that help us find that sense within ourselves. So I really hope that you're able to find the person or the people or the group that allow you to feel heard and seen, and that you can feel that you belong, because you do.
Hola, me llamo Sandra y soy de Caledonia en Cuchan. Viví en Barcelona, entonces pensaba, ¿por qué no dar unas palabras también en castellano? Aunque, como vas a ver, con un acento muy escocés. Es muy duro este proceso que estamos pasando, que de perder nuestro sueño de ser padres. Lo sé, porque yo también no tengo hijos. Y de ser madre era uno de mis primeros recuerdos. Yo creo que tenía 3 añitos, era algo así, la primera vez que ha dado voz a este sueño. Era algo muy importante para mí. En mi comunidad de mujeres sin hijos, las mujeres suelen decir, perdiendo este sueño, pierden todas las esperanzas y otros sueños más allá de maternidad. Tienen miedo de tener nuevos sueños. Esto es comprensible, pero también es mentira. No damos más poder a la infertilidad, ya que está llevado tu querido hijo. Toma tu tiempo, enfádate, ponerte triste, haz lo que tienes que hacer. Y ya que sepas que yo voy a mantener a salvo tus esperanzas, tener una vida plena, hasta que tú estás preparada. Y para que sabes que está a salvo conmigo, te voy a enviar un símbolo. Y este símbolo no va a enseñar solo que vas a sobrevivir, pero que vas a tener nuevas esperanzas y nuevos sueños. Este símbolo me regaló una chica de mi comunidad. Voy a llamarla B. Cada vez que ves una pluma, es un recuerdo que vas a superar eso. Sí, te vas a cambiar. No vas a ser la misma persona que antes. Y sí, vas a tener nuevos sueños y esperanzas. Y tener un diferente tipo de vida plena y completa. Y el símbolo va a ser una pluma. Una plumita que si ves por la calle, en una tienda o lo que sea, no importa si es pequeña, muy pequeña, sucio, grande, no importa. Es un símbolo que tú vas a sobrevivir eso y te vas a tener una vida bonita. Te envío mucho amor. Adiós.
Hi everyone, my name's Anna and I live in Queensland in Australia. In his call out for videos, Michael asked us to share a message of hope around the awful suffering of unwanted childlessness, as well as an achievement we're proud of. There's lots I could talk about, But like others, what I'm most proud of has been my ability to restore myself to myself after the prolonged grief of yearning for kids, but being unable to act on that because of a debilitating health issue. One of the things that helped me most was looking for role models. I found many, mostly through reading, but one of them was Jodi Day of Gateway Women. Reading her book, Living the Life Unexpected, something began to unfurl inside me. I also pulled out a slim volume, Being Fruitful Without Multiplying, many times when grief started to overwhelm me. This was a book of simple vignettes from women who were living this life at varying ages and in different nations, and it helped to know that others were doing this and life could be good. The process of restoring myself has been so worthwhile, rewarding, even if grueling. I was grappling, perhaps like you, with an ill-fitting identity that I certainly did not want. But over time, I realised that I'd grown into a life that felt whole to me. It started to feel, and still does feel, good to be me. Hope is a very powerful force, and I wished I'd been aware of this a lot earlier in my life. I didn't think I could survive those years. It often felt as if my heart was being ripped out and cut into tiny pieces each day. I would stitch them back together only to wake up and do it all again. To try and create a new life I would find any way joyful and worthwhile felt impossible. But by staying the course and trusting myself, slowly, over time, this new life that I now love crept up on me. So that's what I would most like to offer you. A supportive hand to hold on to while you take the time it takes to nourish yourself back to the belief that life will be full again, meaningful, whole, and even delightful. Take care. You will get through this.
Hello, Sarah here from The Empty Cradle. Happy World Childless Week. Sending a big sunshine hello from Brisbane, Australia. I wanted to introduce you to my secret dream project. So we live on a couple of acres of land in the west of Brisbane, and I've had a long-term interest in native plant revegetation, to restore habitat for local native animals, and this is our giving back, our secret project. And so one of the things on this property is that we have a big gully that runs right up the spine of the property, and I'm just bringing you through the entrance to the space now. And at the top end of the gully, on the neighbour's property, a couple of years ago they sighted some koalas up there, and koalas are indigenous local species here and they're endangered. So one of the things that we're doing is that we're planting eucalypt trees all the way through the gully here and right through the bottom end of the property. And just coming down the bottom now, I can show you that we're planting trees the whole way through here, right down through those enormous tallow wood trees there. And the tallow wood trees are some of the favourite tree species of koalas. So I just want to offer you just a word of encouragement, just to say we tried for a really long time to have children, and not being able to have them just broke our heart. And to say that we really have the capacity to be loving and generous and have really meaningful lives. And the reason that we do the work that we do is not for our own children, but for humanity's children and the future of humanity and the planet that we live on. Thank you.
And there's one more thing we need to celebrate, and that is the courage of all these beautiful people who have chosen to be visible on this project. What you didn't see was all the doubt, nervousness and anxiety that a lot of these beautiful people had to overcome to be part of this project. Some of them are only at the beginnings of processing their grief, while others are more experienced. But the thing that binds them all together is the fact that they wanted to do it for you and for those who come after us. They really want to make a difference. And it is this empathy and it's this support that oozes from our community that I think is that beautiful art. And here is where you can help. If these beautiful people have allowed you to find hope, if they have inspired you, or if they've helped you in finding your worthiness, let them know. Leave a heart, leave a comment, be it on the World Childless Week website, be it on Facebook or the YouTube channel where you're watching this on. Let them know that their courage has made a difference to you. And then take that with the rest of the World Childless Week submissions and let them know that their courage has been recognised.